Invincible Season 2 is getting ready to wrap up after a long 5 months of airing. There's been controversy, confusion, support, stress, and more during this season, and yet, it's been pretty uneventful too. With many episodes focusing on side plots and not featuring major players, I kept hoping that this next one would be the one to bring it all back, and it hadn't really happened up to this point. Mark was still screwing around beating up Martians, which got on my nerves, as you can see in my other reviews. In Season 1, the 6th episode was entirely separate from the rest of the series, and then the final 2 were non-stop bloody action and insanity. So, did the second season do the same? Well, let's talk about it. But first, obvious spoiler warning for all of Invincible up to this point, and I also tend to issue another warning that I have not read the comics, so anything after this point will be new to me. Please don't ruin my experience by saying you're gonna love it when this character dies. Got it? Alright, let's talk I'm Not Going Anywhere. The first few scenes are sort of a weird vibe. We start at, of all places, a Comic-Con with Mark and Amber. These two have been finding it difficult to stick together because of all the usual superhero responsibilities, but we're gonna discuss their relationship in a bit, because first of all, is that motherfucking Tim Robinson? Out of nowhere, we're hit with the most meta joke Invincible has ever made, as they address the animation quality through Philip Schaff, the creator of a show Mark likes, explaining how to get around animating a scene, while each example is used by the animators of the episode. I do really like this, and I love how they apparently adapted some panels from the comics that do almost the same thing, but I do think the joke drags on a little bit long. Like it could have just been 3 jokes, but he does like 5. This guy knows a lot of strategies. Also, I will say, while the animation quality of the episode is still rough, there are some fun visuals here and some good character designs, so it isn't the worst. It would actually be really sad if the worst visuals were in the episode where they called themselves out for it. Sometime after that, Mark is called away by Eve in her only appearance for the whole episode to help Rex. Rex has been going through a lot of shit, and he's been increasing in the rankings for my favorite characters, so I was excited to see him get a cool fight scene. They do a lot of interesting stuff with it, giving him a pretty strong bad guy that lays him out a bit, but then he just destroys the thing with a seemingly new gadget that was likely installed while he was out cold. Another undisclosed Cecil experiment to add to the list, but this one is a bit more fair since he was probably scared out of his mind after Rex almost died, so he gave him a buff. I like it. I also like the Mark and Rex interactions afterwards. Jason Mantzoukas' calmer, cooler delivery gives Rex a whole different feeling. He's actually growing and changing. Give him the between-season special. I'll quickly get through the rest of the Guardians who don't have a major involvement in this episode. Rudy, or Robot, who I still think is a little piece of shit, shows that he's a little piece of shit by trying to fix Monster Girl. I think that this is a really smart part of his character though, because he is still Robot, so even if it is with care, he's ultimately trying to engineer the perfect team. Later, he gets promoted to leader, while the Immortal takes time off. The Immortal has a very strange aura about him, and I'm not sure if I like it, but I have been noticing how intriguing his dynamic with Cecil is. I want to see more about the Immortal's past, but not when he was Abraham Lincoln, no. I want to see the years before the Guardians were killed. That would be a cool special too, damn. Oh, and my mortal enemy, Bulletproof, gets his first pretty solid scene with Black Samson that finally establishes him as the new guy who doesn't know everybody that well. I think they should have done this 4 episodes ago, but I'll take it. Returning to Mark and Amber, the two have relationship troubles yet again. Surprisingly, they end the episode still being a couple, but barely. Mark is always rushing off to save the world, but Amber seems to accept this by now. Unfortunately, she doesn't know what's coming, because shockingly, my out-of-left-field request for Amber to get caught up in the Viltrumite storyline at the end of my last review happened. A new Viltrumite named Anissa arrives, threatening Amber's life before even showing up on screen. This seems to fuck her up pretty badly, as she's distraught and traumatized the next time we see her. I do honestly hope that Mark and Amber split after this, as this sort of backwards will they won't they has been bloated, and it needs to end at some point. This would likely be that point. Amber's reaction to her life being ruined and her safety being endangered, being, nope, sorry, can't do this anymore, is perfectly justified. If they're gonna split, they should do it now. But anyways, let's talk about that fight. Anissa makes a hell of an entrance and a big impression throughout her extended appearance. The previous Viltrumites, besides Nolan, who is a whole different beast, were basically just killbots that said you are beneath us and your lives are insignificant, which was pretty basic. However, Anissa gives Mark a run-through of the Viltrumite ideas by attempting to convince him. Nolan said that humans are meaningless, but Anissa suggests that Viltrumites will do a far better job of saving humans than superheroes on Earth ever have. She proves this by fucking annihilating a kaiju that's terrorizing a cruise ship, killing it while Mark refuses to. And it's just sick as hell. Like, sure, she's probably just making all this up, as the ultimate goal for Viltrum is to take over Earth, not protect it, but it's an interesting argument no matter what. Up to this point, the two still haven't even fought, but when they do, that's great too. Anissa can create earthquakes without even trying, but Mark is known for taking a beating, so it really is unstoppable force meets immovable object. But even down in the dirt, having Cecil's voice yelling in his ear to surrender, Mark doesn't give in, refusing to submit to Anissa and pretend to agree with her ideals. I love this. Mark feels like a true hero after this scene. He's gone through this before, and his goodwill is stronger for it. Sure, it was sort of stupid to not give up, as he easily could have been killed, but that's just what a goddamn superhero is meant to do. Protect the people and your morals with your life. Love it, love it, love it. That's pretty much all for Mark this episode, so let's backtrack and get through a subplot I've been ignoring up to this point. Donald learns from Cecil after planning his resignation that he himself made the decision to die and be reanimated with a deleted memory, something he found out was happening only a few episodes back. The emotional journey that Donald, of all people, had to go through this whole season has been wild to follow, and yet another detail to pile onto his trauma must have had this man going through about 15 identity crises at once. But my man Donald is able to persevere and prevent Rick, William's boyfriend and one of Ezra Miller's victims that isn't real, from taking his own life after learning he had been cloned. Despite this storyline being unbelievably strange, Chris Diamantopoulos is genuinely hitting hard with his performance as Donald, and I don't mind it as a way to wrap up what Season 1 Episode 6 started. At the tail end of Episode 7, there are two major setups, one before the credits and one in the middle of them. The one in the middle is fairly simple. Alan the alien himself boards the Viltrumite ship on purpose after encountering Anissa and pretending to be weaker than he is. This is hilarious to me since I'm almost certain that he'll end up near Omni-Man in prison, and I cannot wait for that dynamic. Before the credits though, we finally get what I've been waiting for 6 episodes. Angstrom Levy doing something. Mark gets a call from Debbie, who is actually Angstrom, who has invaded the Grayson house and is holding Debbie and Oliver, the little purple kid, hostage. This may be too little too late, but I'll be damned if I don't admit that this kinda hit hard as an ending, especially with no musical cue or anything. Just a menacing last line and a hard cut to credits is all we need. At this point, I'll just say that I hope Angstrom Levy makes it through the finale so he can be used more in later seasons, but at least he finally got to work. Now, with the episode finished, what are my general thoughts? Well, I'll say that this is an improvement from episodes 5 and 6. I still have my issues with it though. This feels more like an episode 6 than an episode 7, because it's like we're getting to the smaller confrontations that build up to the final battle when we should be setting up, well, the final battle. It's going to be tough to cram in a finale's worth of material into that last episode. Additionally, and I know I've been saying it every review, but where is Nolan? Obviously, he'll have a big role in Episode 8, which means we're looking at 2 major appearances, 3 cameos if you count the other version of him in Episode 1, and 3 whole episodes where Nolan Grayson, Omni-Man, J.K. Simmons, one of the main characters of the show, does not appear. It bugs me a little, you know? But let's not get bogged down on what's not in the episode, because what is in the episode is pretty good. Engaging fights, character growth, even decent subplots. I'll give this one a solid 7.5 out of 10, with the possibility of growing to an 8. I'm Not Going Anywhere was a good one, and next, we have I Thought You Were Stronger. With the amount of times I've seen that panel posted without context on Twitter, it's gonna be a hell of a ride for sure. So please, take it with me by subscribing to see the final Invincible Season 2 review, and give me a like if you enjoyed this one. There's some more reviews I've already posted on the season in the little I tab if I remembered, so check those out if you're interested. For now though, I'll be going. Bye now.